Namaskar to everybody again. It's so nice to see you the last um, Tuesday of year 2020. This will be the last lecture in this year. And we have been listening the wonderful word of God for last couple of months, in fact. And hope you all enjoying. And I don't think we can use our time such a nice way, such a beautiful way um, mm, other than listening this wonderful word of God. So today I will be taking you to chapter 9. We'll try to complete chapter 9 today. And but before I go do so, let me finish my pranam to our rishis and munis. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं चैव ततो जयमुदीरये व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय श्रीविष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्म विधाय वसिष्ठाय नमो नमः शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यौ कृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भं शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमम् अस्मात् आचार्यपर्यन्तं वन्दे गुरुं परम्पराम् ॐ अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेषु गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते ॐ नमः श्रीभगवते वासुदेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमो नमः. So we are the chapter 9. Chapter 9 is being known Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga. The yoga of the kingly knowledge and kingly secret, highly intellectual knowledge, and it's highly secret also because it's not for everybody. So we have talked, I think the last Tuesday, we came up to the verse number 21. So let me read the 21 because we could not finish, I remember. So today I will be starting with the verse number 21, chapter 9. Titam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam chine punne martalokam vishanti evam tridharma mano prapanya Gatagatam kamo kamalabhante. Om Namaha Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Okay, so this was the verse number 21. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, enjoying that lengthy and enormous celestial pleasures in heaven, when the merits of their virtuous works come to an end, these people come back to this mortal world again. In this way, practitioners of desire-based rituals of the three Vedas come and go for an endless period of time. If you remember last time we were talking that the Vedas are the foundation of the Sanatana Dharma. And Vedas is the most wonderful gift to the world. And Vedas for everybody, though it was given an Indian soil, but when we read the Vedas, we could see it was given for everybody. And so in the Vedas, there is two sections. One is the Karma Kanda, that is the rituals, desire-based ritual. People practice ritual expecting some result. And the other part of the Vedas is the Upanishad or Vedanta. In that part, we learn about the Brahman, how to reach that goal, how to realize the Brahman at this very lifetime. So that is the part of the we read in the Vedas, other part of the Vedas. But the people love to do the rituals. And in the all these Vedas, three Vedas is mentioned here, is the four Vedas. There are lots of kind of rituals are being prescribed there, and people love to do that. So once we do some kind of ritual, there must be some result also. Here, Lord Krishna see that enjoying because of the merits of that good work, they go to the heaven and then enjoy that heavenly pleasures there. But then, like, you saving your money in the bank, but if you do not work anymore, you sit down and just withdrawing money from your savings account and spending, a time will come that your money will finish. Similarly, when you go to the heaven, a time will come, the merits of our auspicious work, holy work, good work will come to an end. And that is the time we'll be coming back to this world again. Evam Troy Dharma Anuprapanna. Thus, in this way, practitioners of the desire-based rituals of the three Vedas come and go for endless period of time. So what we see in this particular verse, again, Srimad Bhagavad Gita establishing the philosophy of rebirth. If you remember chapter 2, when Lord Krishna started to give the lessons to Arjuna, he talks about the rebirth, that philosophy. Because Lord Krishna mentioned that Arjuna, you and me came many times, but because you are ordinary human being, you forgot. But I remember everything. And also, if you remember, I mentioned a couple of times, our Guruji, Swami Pranavanandaji Maharaj, also mentioned many places that he could see our past, future, and present, everything at the nail of his finger. So that is, we see Guru Maharaj's life also. So that means that when we do some ritual or religious practice, expecting some result, we must get the result, good result of our good work. But then at the time we'll be coming back to this world again. So this is the verse I read in the last verse in the last two stage. So today I will be taking you to the verse number 22, one of the most beautiful verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I mean, everybody remember it. And if we can believe this philosophy, and it is very difficult to believe in it because it needs really, really strong faith. But this is one of the most read Bhagavad Gita and the slokas from the Bhagavad Gita. Everybody did it. So let me take you that verse number 22. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Ananyasya chintayanta mam ye janaha parijupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogokshemam vahamyaham. Om Namaha Shri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Arjuna, my devotees who think of me constantly and who worship me with one-pointed devotion, of those ever attached devotees, it is I myself look after their well-beings. I protect their good interest and I personally take care of their daily needs. Let me read again. My devotees who think of me constantly and who worship me with one pointed mind, of those ever attached devotees, it is I myself look after their well-beings. I protect their good interest and I personally take care of their daily needs. So, Anunnas Chintayanto, a devotee who think of God with one pointed mind. Ye janaha Purjupashati, the completely dedicated devotee at the lotus feet of the Lord. Tesham nitya abhijuktanam, devotees who are always attached with me, ever attached with me. Yogokshemam vahamyaham. So whatever they have, I protect that, and whatever they do not have, I take care of those things also. So you could see. So related to these, but to explain these verse, I will be telling you a small story. So that will give you a better idea of this particular verse. Because this particular verse is well read. Any people delivering lectures on Bhagavad Gita, they always mention of this verse. Lord Krishna promising that I take care of my devotees. Those who are my devotees, those who love me, those who are ever attached with me, those who made me eternal relation, those who made me a kind of unbroken friendship with me, I'm there to protect him and supply everything for him. So this particular story will give us a better idea. There was a very learned person in a remote village of India. We call Brahmin. He's a learned person. He was a Sanskrit scholar. He had toll. Toll means a private the learning place. The student is to come from various places and stay with him, and he teach them Sanskrit, and also he teach them the Shastras, all the sacred text. He enjoyed doing that. He never charged any fees because he thought selling Shastra means the sacred text, sacred religious books. Selling Shastra is no good. So he used to teach it free. But then he was married, he had a family also, his wife was there. So he enjoyed teaching. So one morning, student did not come yet. He was reciting Bhagavad Gita loud, enjoying. He was feeling a thrill of joy throughout his body. He felt the touch of God. So while reciting the verses from Holy Gita, he came to this verse, Anannas Chintayantamam ye janaha Purjupashate tesham nityabhijuktanam yogkshemam vahamyaham. Oh Lord, he jumped with joy. Look here what Lord Krishna telling here. He personally take care of the well-beings of his devotees. So now, he's a married person, and you all know that something joyful you want to share it with your wife. So his wife was inside. She was a traditional woman, grown up in a traditional Hindu family. Her parent taught her that never ask your husband how much money he is earning. Never answer anything if it do not ask you, and must do not eat before your husband. Do not go to bed before your husband go to the bed. Never do any argument with your husband. Maybe he outside something wrong, and so he's disturbed when he come back home, and maybe he tell you something. So do not reply immediately, and then maybe after he cool down, he will understand his mistake. And then do not also tell him that there is no rice, dal, vegetable or masalas or oil in home. Never tell those things to your husband. This is how she was being trained. From childhood days, her mommy also taught that way. Now she married to this, this learned Panditji. But then to run a family, we need money. You have to buy food, you have to buy clothes, you have to make, repair your home, you have to do other things. But Panditji, on that person, that Brahman, never thought of the money. He loved to study, and he was a worshipper of goddess Saraswati. He worshipped the Jnana. So he went inside to express his joy to his wife. So what his wife was, skinny because there was not right food, and then her clothes also, that is not a right cloth to wear. She could not come outside because of the tear out cloth, and you could see her hair because she could not buy oil, all those things, no money in home. And that day she was sitting in the kitchen and thinking what I should give to my husband to eat today, because there was nothing to eat. And husband is not thinking of those side. He enjoyed teaching and enjoying the Shastra, all these things. So Panditji took the Bhagavad Gita, listen, hear what Bhagavan Sri Krishna telling. Ananas chintayanto ye jana. Up to there he spoke. Today is the first day she spoke, open her mouth. She said that you must think of the home also a little bit. That one word penetrated like a sharp arrow all the way in the heart of the Panditji, because he was not ready for it. He never heard this word his wife telling. It was so kind of painful for him. It just went deep into his heart. It's like a wounded now. He was shocked. He came to his place where he used to conduct the classes. He took a pen and cut this verse by his own hand. It's not the right thing what Lord Krishna telling here. He cut those verses by his own hand, and he went outside. No more class today. He's wandering here and there. One day he become like old person because he keep thinking. For a while he thought that how she could utter that cruel word to me. For a while that he thought, and then kind of no food whole day. He did not eat anything, wandering here and there. And one day looked like he become old person. This side his wife also repenting. She wanted to punish her tongue. Why this kind of word came to my mouth, in my tongue? I could have picked up some leaves from the garden, boil and give him. And why, she was, but words like sharp arrow, once these go out of hand, you cannot take it back. So we have to be so careful before you use any word. So it's already done. So it was almost afternoon. The Brahmani that she also looked very kind of, no food, tired, exhausted. She was worried for her husband because she knows that husband did not eat anything. She don't know where he is now. It was almost afternoon. She kept looking at the road. Maybe he's coming, maybe he's coming. In the meantime, he see two little boy coming. with two baskets in hand. One look like a little darkish and one look little bit fair color. Just a tie one piece of cloth and bare body, little young boy. Mataji, Mataji, Mataji. You could imagine she was weak, she was worried, she was exhausted, and hearing that heavenly sweet word of the little children, it's like penetrating, pouring honey to her ear. She just look at it and see that two beautiful, very heavenly looking two little boys coming. Mataji, please hold on, please hold on, please hold on. But she could not think anything, took the basket, put on the floor. He touched their body and took the two boys in her. Say, Baba, who are you? And then it was actually Krishna Balaram, two brothers, but he did not say anything. Then, while she was touching their back, blood coming. She turned the body of the young two boys. They see that somebody cut the body, looked like a sharp knife went two times. So what happened to him? Who did it? Mataji, your Brahman did. My husband? No, because he's so kind and caring and loving person. He can't do that. Yes, Mataji, he did it. But by touching the two boys, that Brahmani is kind of intoxicated with divine love. She went to the Sampurna Samadhi. Means she merged, she was lost in divinity. Her body was shivering of joy because of the touch of the God, and she closed her eyes and fell unconscious. In the meantime, two boys disappeared. And then it was afternoon time, the Panditji decided that he's not going to teach anymore the free classes anymore. He will not do this work anymore. He will find out a job and do other, because this is how he will not be able to run the family. So he decided that he looked like an old person. Hair is right, with the gray color hair, and looked like skinny, no food. All these things went on. So now he's coming. He looked at his home, looked like the home is somebody repaired the home, because it was a broken home. Before rainfall outside, rain is to come inside his home. So looked like somebody make the home nice home there. It looked like some lady walking there, little better dressed. And she was coming outside and inside, out and in, because she was worried for her husband. So Panditji thinking, my house was here. I see a changes in the house. So now Brahmani, she saw her husband waiting at the road. So she ran. Why are you standing? He's come inside. He could not recognize his wife. You look so different. Your clothes is different. Your color is different. You look so different. You look so happy. You look so joyful. You look so heavenly. You look so divine. So then she explained what happened. Then what Panditji told? That Panditji, Brahmani, he's telling his wife, by doing your duty, by remaining, stick to your duty, you perform your dharma, patni dharma, and you saw God by your own eyes. And look at me, I have been reading and teaching scripture every day. Oh Brahmani, I could not see them by my eyes. You are so fortunate, you are so lucky, your human birth is become fulfilled. So that two little boys was none other than Krishna Balaram. You know that. You might find out this story little fairy tale, but I as a monk, living in a traditional Hindu monastery for many, many, many years. And I can assure you, this verse is 100% true. So let me take you to the next verse. The verse number 24. Om aham hi sarvayajnanam bhukta cha prabhureva cha na tu mam abhijananti तत्त्वेनातश्च्यवन्ति ते ॐ नमः श्री भगवते वासुदेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमो नमः. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, indeed, all forms of prayers and religious practices ultimately come to me. It is I who give rewards of all forms of spiritual practices. But they do not know me truly. As a result, they all come down to this world again and again. Aham hi sarvajagyanan bhutta. We do puja, like Hindus do puja in the temple. The people from other faith, they do their own prayer. We use one kind of word. The people from other faith, they use other word. But sometimes we forget that the goal of this prayer and puja and recitations of these hymns and prayers, the ultimate object of this puja, prayers, meditation, practice of yoga is God. We forget that. Here Lord Krishna telling to his disciple Arjuna, aham hi sarvajagyanam bhukta cha prabhureva cha. All form of prayers and recitation, whatsoever you do, it's come to me. And I give the rewards. I am the giver of rewards of your good deeds. Now, here, one thing, I want to take you quickly to the Vedanta. In Vedanta, whom we call Brahman, the Supreme, in Bhagavad Gita, same Brahman we are introducing you as Krishna. Soon I will be taking you to chapter 11. We will see God in front of us. In this human birth, we will get an opportunity to see God when I will take you to chapter 11. But here Lord Krishna already appeared at the battleground of Kurukshetra, and Lord Krishna telling that I accept all form of puja, prayer, whatever. If you come to our temple, people doing Shiva puja, people doing Ganesh puja, people doing Durga puja, people doing other, Lord Rama puja, Hanumanji prayer, whatsoever, whatever other faith also doing, everything go to one God. Aham hi sarvajagyanam bhukta. Everything come to me. Different word, different language, different direction, different kind of our experience of life. We may be doing our prayer in various ways, but it's go only one place. Aham hi sarvajagyanam bhukta. It's all go to the Lotus feet of the Lord. Prabhu Revacha. It is He is the Lord, and He give the rewards of our good action. Not to mam abhijananti. But people do not know me properly, because when we do the ritual, like that when you come to the during the period of Durga Puja, to the ashram, we worship Goddess Durga as the mother of this universe. Those 9 days, people are hungry to hear the words of Goddess Durga. They forget everything. People, phone call coming, hundreds of phone call every day. When is the Pushpanjali? When is the main prayer? So, but how many of these thousands of devotees really, really honestly see that beautiful appearance of the Ma Durga in that murti made of the clay or the grasses? How many people can, when you're reciting that prayer, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Bhakti Rupena Samastita, O Goddess Durga, you abide, you are present in everybody as bhakti, as a devotion, as faultless devotion. Namastasvai, 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 Namo Namo. O Goddess Durga, O Mother of this universe, we togetherly bow down to you. How many people can penetrate deep into that prayer? Because they see when is the main prasad will be served. As soon as the Pushpanjali finish, we run to the basement for the prasadam, but we forget that I'm fasting today. I came to temple, see Ma Durga, and I want to sit down in front of that murti of the Ma Durga, feel the touch of the presence of Goddess Durga in me. So that is how Lord Krishna telling. Most of the puja prayer we do, very little our mind go honestly deep into the main object of the puja. So aham hi sarvajagyanam bhokta cha prabhurevucha natu mam abhijananti. People do not know me properly. Tattvenas chavantite. Because of this, because we always expect something, and because of this hankering, that desire, that expectation, that wishes in our mind, and so we are unable to know the vast beauty of the Lord. Because ultimate goal of life, the ultimate object of life, the main goal of life, to realize the self-realization, Atma Tattva Upalabdhi, understanding that God is dwelling, that I am the very part of that wonderful God. So that main goal of the things, we just imagine when you're driving, that day I was going for a puja to the Pennsylvania, some distance places, and there's a huge cremation ground, crematorium. Thousands of, the cement pillars are there. I say, my God, these people came to this land of fortune, the United States of America, from various parts of this world. They tried for visa, they spend money to get visa, they travel, they leave their family behind. Many of them, because of the green card travel, immigration travel, many of them could not go back to their country anyway. And then they tried to get their permanent residence card, they took citizenship, they did everything, but ultimately they all took shelter and they all silent here. See, Lord. So that is how it say here, Tattenas Chavantite, because we did not think. Because people occasionally tell Swamiji, we did not come to America to pray God. We came here to earn dollars. We came to earn money. We did not come here to pray to God here. But that ultimately time come, people miss that thing, because that is the food of our mind. Our mind remain hungry. Our mind mind is thirsty, hungry. It needs food. And that food is the word of God. So all form of prayers go to God. He is the Lord of everything. But because of our lack of our understanding, the goal we do not understand properly. So that is why we are not able to understand the beauty of the God. As a result, we come back to this world again and again. And Lord Krishna again tell here about the philosophy of rebirth. Here, I take you to verse number 25. Yanti deva prata deva pitrini yanti pitri brataha bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti madjaji pima. Om Krishna, Om Krishna, Om Krishna. Those who worship other form of God, they go to the planets of those gods. Those who worship ancestors, they go to the abode of the ancestors. Those who worship spirits go to the places of spirits. And those who worship me attain me. It's very interesting. Yanti Devabrata Devan. People worshipping many kind of, that, for example, if I open the Rig Veda, you see the fire god, rain god, water god, ocean god, mountain god, wind god. It's like various form of gods we worshipping. So here Lord Krishna say, Yanti Devabrata Devan. Worshipper of various forms, like we as a monk, you see I'm sitting in front of you, and you see I have the Rudraksha mala. So Rudraksha is the Lord Shiva. As soon as you see Rudraksha or Bhasma, that means we are the follower of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva and Mother Durga are the prime deities. That is our we worship. We call Shivite. All the monks who ever wearing Rudraksha must be they follow the Lord Shiva. And you know also that Tulsi garland worn by the Vaishnava people, those who follow the Vaishnava tradition. Now, so when we worshipping Lord Shiva, we always imagine that after we complete our journey, we'll be going to the Shiva Loka. We always imagine, we read in the Shiva Mahapuran about the Lord Shiva, who is Lord Shiva, why Lord Shiva look like that, why you worship the Shiva Lingam, holy Lingam, why people love to throw water, milk, honey, ghee, coconut water, Ganges water, and water from 7 oceans to the Shiva Lingam. Why during the period of the Shivaratri people love to spend the night, they don't go to the bed, they don't sleep, they want to remain wakeful and chant the name of the Lord Shiva. And they always imagine the Lord Shiva is a wonderful place, the Shiva Loka. On the other hand, people who is following the Lord Vishnu, they imagine of the Vaikuntha Loka, where Lord Sri Vishnu and Mother Lakshmi is there. So this is how people worship different kind of gods and different kind of, is all go to one place if we read in the previous verse. So we as a people who worship Lord Shiva, Goddess Durga, we imagine that after this human body fall down, we'll go to the Shiva Loka. And then those who following the Vaishnava tradition, they imagine they will go to the Vaikuntha Loka. So in this way, especially in the Rig Veda's time, we see many gods like moon god, sun god, fire god, water god, rain god. People used to worship various kind of god. Here Lord Krishna says that Janti Devabrata Devan. The worshipper of the different gods go to their planets. Pitrin Janti Pitri Brota, people who worship their ancestor, father, they go to the planets of their ancestor. Like we worship our father, Pita Sargaha, Pita Dharmaha, Pita Hi Paramam Tapaha, Pitari Pritima Panne, Priyante Sarva Devatam. Pita Dharma. Father represent dharma, righteousness in front of me. Living Shiva. My father represent in front of me, in front of my eyes, as a living Shiva. Pita Dharma, Pita Swarga. I don't know other heaven. I don't want to think of the other kind of heaven, because I think my father is heaven to me. That whatever joy, whatever pleasure we can think in the heaven, my father giving me everything. So Pita Dharma, Pita Sarga, Pita Hi Paramam Tapo. To obey the command of my father is the highest kind of spiritual practices. Pitari Pritima Panne. If I can please my father with my good behavior by remain dedicated to him, Pitari Pritima Panne Priyante Sarva Devata. All gods and goddesses will be pleased to me. They will shower their blessings to me. So this is how we worship our father. So you could imagine Pitri, and then we worship our ancestors, our grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather, our tradition. we have the long list of the people who left. I came down from that family. So people worship, they go to the Goya to give the rice ball, worship their ancestor. People come into our temple also. So Lord Krishna said, Pitrin Janti Pitrivavrata. Worshipper of the ancestors go to the planet of the ancestors. Bhutani Janti Bhutteja. There is people who worship spirits, Bhut, ghost, goblin. There are many, all this kind of thing, all over. I mean, here I think 31st October or 30th October, the Halloween day. I mean, first time when I came to the country, I see people putting skeleton hanging in front of the house. You go to the airport, the ladies, the dressing like look like bhoot pret. You go to the bank to deposit money. You see that how they're dressing. They put the spider net around. It's kind of scary, kind of bone falling here, there, even to make it plastic. So I'm not sure the background of the story of the Halloween, but to us who came from India, I'm thinking, oh my God, this country also worship bhoot, pret, the ghost and goblins. I mean, that is how I used to think initially. So there are people, kind of, some, if you go to the village, some ladies, they put their hair, open hair, they're shaking their hair, her head, and people think it's some kind of bhoot or pret, to bring somebody to remove that kind of spirit from her. So people believe all over the world, regardless how much you are educated, how much we have. If you have a Harvard University degree or Princeton University degree, still people come to our temple to do those kind of puja, and they call me also, Swamiji, do you do this puja? So please keep in mind, because I see here one lady coming, she's dropping every week one umbrella. So a black umbrella, black dal, black something, she's always doing, because she said that somebody tell him there's a black magic on her. And so she have to give all this thing to remove that black magic. So here, so people worship bhoot. Bhoot means ghost, goblin, spirits. So bhutani janti bhuti jana. Worshipper of the spirits and bhoot, they go to the planets of those places. But Lord Krishna, the Lord of this world, the Lord Krishna, who represents the Father of this world, the very soul of all soul, who is the root of this creation, Param Purushottama, Sri Narayan, Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra, he say, Yanti Madhyaji Nopi Mam, Arjuna, worshipper of me, come to me. And so, who is Lord Krishna? That all perfect. Lord Krishna is all pervading, omniscient, almighty, unmanifested, that Brahman, that supreme, that root of this world. It's a very beautiful verse. So it's need to be really think over this particular verse to understand it clearly. It's a very beautiful verse. I personally like it very much. And then I'm taking you to verse number 26, another beautiful verse. Some people, that is, Swamiji, I want to do a puja. That I want to do a Satyanarayan puja, or I want to do a kind of Lord Vishnu puja. So can you please give me a list of the puja things, what we need? So I thought, instead of harassing people, let me give a short list. What is really needed to do that? But if you give them, I did not know the person called, he's a rich person. And he was ready to spend money, invite hundreds of people to his home and do elaborate puja. But I did not know, so I thought, let me cut short of the list. So I give him a small list of the puja. But then he was not satisfied. But said, that's all, kind of thing. Then I realized, okay, then I began to add a big list. And the gentleman was so happy. He was so happy to buy things, invited a lot of people, make good prasadam, give me good dakshina. But here, see what Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, how he is pleased for the simple thing. So let me recite for you. verse number 26, another important verse of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Patram pushpam phalametoyam Patram pushpam phalametoyam Yo me bhakta prayachati Patram pushpam phalametoyam Yo me bhaktya prajachati tadaham bhaktu paritam asnami prayatatmanaha patram pushpam Govinda 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 Arjuna said, Lord Krishna said, Arjuna, devotees, those who worship me free from desires and expectation, offer me simple leaves, flower, fruits, or water with love and devotion. I accept those offerings. People coming to do Shiva Puja, bringing little bell leaves, little flower, little milk, a little water. That's all. Patram pushpam. What we need to worship God. God do not want gold from us. God do not want different kind of valuable ornament from us. God do not want our money. God do not want our land. God do not want nothing is clothes. Because it is God who give us those things. He is the owner of the all wealth, all knowledge, all beauty, all power. How can we think about that we are going to please God with giving, offering little ornament? Here Lord Krishna says, Patram Pushpam, a devotee who offer me simple leaves like tulsi leaf, bell leaves. Like here, sometimes I don't get the bell leaves to worship the Lord Shiva. So I just pick up the leaves from the maple tree, whatever available in the garden. I pick up and I offer to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva never angry of me that you supposed to give me bell leaves. No, he never tell me. Because whatever available in the garden, I pick up and I offer to Lord Shiva. So patram, simple leaves, pushpam, flower, simple flower, phalam, little fruits, tuyam, little water. That is all we need to worship our God. But it have to be mixed up with devotion, pure devotion, dedication, full love to the God. Yomi Bhakta Prajachati Arjuna, those who offer these things to me with love and devotion, Tadaham Bhaktu Paritam Asnami Prajatmanaha. Those devotees who worship, offer me all those things with their heart. I gladly accept them and I bless them too. Because, you see, poor people, sometimes living in America, so naturally people can buy things, but not everywhere. If you go to a country, don't have too much money. People have little things, and whatever they arrange, and we can worship God. We just need to put our mind and pray to the God for the family. So because here in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna himself say, just need little flower, fruits, water, and our bhakti. So please keep in mind, next time we come to the temple for the puja, so you could memorize this verse in your own mind, that God want our bhakti, not the things or not the object. God want our bhakti and love. I take you to another beautiful verse, very beautiful. Oh my God, chapter 9. I wish we could go at least a couple of more lectures, but I'll try. I want to finish today. That's why a little bit, making it short when I'm doing discussing. Please, we need to imprint these words also at our own mind. You need to write in your own heart so that we could remember it. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna again, Yad karshi yad snashi jajjuhoshi dadashi ja yatapasyashi kaunteya tadikurusya madarpanam yad karshi yad snashi. Krishna Govinda Madhusudana Rama Narayana Hare. Krishna Govinda Madhusudana Rama Narayana Hare. Krishna Govinda Madhusudana. Arjuna, Yat Karashi, whatever, Kaunte, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever rituals you perform, whatever contribution you make, whatever austerities you practice, offer everything to me. Yat Karashi, whatever you do, what do you do? I'm living in the ashram, waking up early morning at 3, writing Guruji's book, doing puja, meditation, doing exercise, practicing music, cleaning temple, people coming, doing kar puja, doing prayer to the ancestor, doing this puja, that puja, makes your temple is, look good, changing the dresses, clothes of the, murtis, those kind of, receiving people, doing spiritual counseling. You are in home from morning, you rushing to wake up quickly because you have to give breakfast to your children, prepare them, and then you have to sit down, log down to your computer, sit down whole day. You are in the computer screen because of working from home now because of this virus problem. You are busy till 7, you're still working. So everybody doing their own work. Here Lord Krishna says, whatever you do, offer to me. This is your puja. Lord, this is my puja to you. From morning to evening, evening to morning, this is the things I did. And this is my flower. This is my puja to your feet. Please give me pure bhakti, faultless bhakti. Give me love to your lotus feet. Jadasnashi, whatever you eat, we taking breakfast, milk, cereal, banana, we taking, maybe, midday lunch, evening time, or snacks, or tea, coffee, whatever you taking, vegetarian food or whatever. So whatever you eat, because it's like havan, putting food in mouth means Om Swaha, Om Swaha. Fire is there in the belly at our stomach. Havan kund is there, and we like ghee. We putting food there. Like in the Havan ceremony, we offer Havan samagri, fruits, leaves, bell leaves, ghee. And that is how we putting everything in our mind to keep our body fit and strong, so that we could be useful in service of God. To keep our body fit and strong and vibrant, energetic, and with full positive kind of attitude, so that whatever I could do, I could offer at the feet of the Lord. I don't get tired. So, Jajju Hoshi, whatever you eat. Jadasnashi, Jad Karashi, Jadasnashi. Then Jajju Hoshi, whatever ritual you practice. So many. We remember I talked about the Pancha Mahayagya, prayer to our prayer to the gods and goddesses, study of the religious text, doing pranam or ashirvad or blessings from our parent, serving the senior member at our home. The Manusmriti was telling, that person is the most blessed person who know how to treat the elders in home, how to pay respect to their seniors in home. He is the most blessed person in a home. Usually when you see in the elderly person, shaking person, old people, senior people, we neglect, we ignore sometimes. But that's a great mistake in life. We forget the dedication, the sacrifice. They, 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 they gave everything from their life for us. What do we see? This beautiful road, beautiful country, all these things. We forget that thousands of people, you know, dedicated their life, give up their life to make all these roads, buildings, all these facilities we are using today, enjoying our life. We forget their sacrifice. So he's the most blessed person in home who know how to respect their elders in home, elders in the society. So whatever ritual, this is worshipping the elders in the society or in home, also a ritual, not to torture the animal. And then we have the puja, prayer, different kind of rituals we're doing. So, you know, whatever rituals you practice, dadashi jat, dan dharma, whatever dan you did, whatever charity you did, whatever philanthropy you did, whatever contribution you made, whatever donation you gave to the temple, ashram, or the any other places. Yat tapusyashi kaunteya, O Kunti Putra, O son of Mother Kunti, and whatever austerities, whatever like meditation, silent chanting, study of the scripture, or sadhu seva, serving the holy people, whatever spiritual practices you did, or pilgrimage you did, you know, build up temple, churches, or synagogues, whatever you did, all Kunti Tat Kurusha Madarpanam. Offer everything to me because I am the Prabhu and Bhokta. You remember in the previous verse we read that I am the object of all these things what you are doing. It's a very beautiful verse. Please make a note that these verses need to be memorized throughout our life. Yat Karushi does make sure the pride do not penetrate at our heart because you're doing you building a temple, you giving money to build a school because we know what happened. Like somebody donate a property to open a school, then coming the pride. Oh, I donated. Who are you to donate? Like you, millions of people, they give up everything for charity. There are so many names all over. People give away everything silently because they know that this is for let my things go for the use of the people. What I will do when the money will be wasting in the suitcase. So because you know why I'm telling that pride is such a thing, sukshma, very fine way pride entered to the penetrate in the mind. Whenever you do something good, the pride enter, ahankar enter, and they take away that beauty, that punya fall or the result of your good work take away by our pride. Ahankar or pride is very dangerous thing. We need to be humble by side. We need to be protect also ourselves. We need to learn the technique or art how we can maintain that humbleness in our character. So this is how we did the verse number 27. Very beautiful verse. Now I will be taking you to verse number 29. And as I mentioned that I'm trying to finish this chapter today. So verse number 29. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name teshasti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumame bhaktya moi te teshu chapyaham. Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna, I am impartial to everybody. I have no friend and I have no enemies. Yet, Those who worship me with soulful love and with pure devotion, they dwell in me and I am present in them too. Oh, so beautiful again. Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. Lord Krishna mentioned to Arjuna that I am equal to everybody. Then I can ask a question to Lord Krishna in front of me. If Krishna was in front of me, I would ask Krishna, if you say that you are equal minded to everybody, then why this happened to this world? Some people enjoying the beauties, fortune of this world, other people starving and dying at the roadside. Some people don't know where to keep their clothes. Their closet are full of clothes. They don't know what to do with that. They call me, Swamiji, do you accept the second hand clothes? And there is people around the world who clothes, they have very little to cover their shame. Why this discrimination? Why somebody hungry, born at the roadside and die at the roadside? And why some people born in the with a gold spoon at their mouth? And why this discrimination in your kingdom? Oh Lord, could you please explain to me why people go through this pain? So, because here Lord Krishna says, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. I'm equal to everybody. Na me deshasti, na me priyaha. I do not have any friend, I do not have any enemy too, because I love everybody equally. But then the question I brought, why some people born at the roadside and die in the roadside. If you go to some places, you will see how the situation is so, you will feel that, oh Lord, it's hell. Why these people born even? You could read in the newspaper. I'm not mentioning the name of the country. I'm not mentioning because, I visit here, there. I see by my own eyes. And I could see how people suffering of little bit food and a little bit clothes and a little bit, they very little opportunity for them to send their children to education. So why? Because the saint and holy men say it is the karma of all. It is the law of action. It's the law of karma. Maybe they did something wrong at their previous birth, and that is how they're going through this pain. Those people enjoying the fortune of this world, maybe they did some good work. Right now I read in one of the verse, the good doers go to the heaven. So maybe this is how the good doers enjoying the pleasures of this world, enjoying like heaven, like peace in this world. And the other people who did mistake in their life and going through the hell in this planet Earth right here. So, but here Lord Krishna clarify Arjuna, clearly mention that he do not have no discrimination, he do not practice any bias in his life. He is equal to everybody. His blessings is everywhere. Like this morning, I was writing Guruji's book. So Guruji was telling one day at the Bajitpur where Guruji was born, the main ashram, Bajitpur ashram in Bangladesh. So Guruji was standing and he was telling, look, you all my disciple, my Shishu, I'm your Guru. But if some of you stay in the my disciple, you stay in the ashram holding anti kind of hostile kind of feelings in your mind, how can I help you? How my blessings will be working? How can I transfer my spiritual power to my own disciple who is staying inside the monastery but holding, nurturing hostile kind of anti kind of, how he will bless us? So this is how this world, because Lord Krishna is there, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, that Nandalala, that Jashodanandan, that Sri Madhava, Madhusudan, that Keshava, that Giridharilal is there for us. He is equal to everybody. He does not have no enemy. But it is we shut down that door of our heart, and that is how his blessings is unable to penetrate in us. Ye bhajanti tumang bhakta, Arjuna, who worship me with soulful prayer, with soulful devotion, with pure love. make me the sole goal of life. He see me everywhere, in children, in home, in furniture, whatsoever. He see Krishna everywhere. Ye bhajanti tumang bhakta, moi te tesu chakpe. Those kind of devotees dwell in me always, and I am also present in them. It's such a beautiful. You could see the chapter 9 giving us such most valuable teachings. Like previous verse, Yat Parasi Jadasnasi. This verse, Lord Krishna mentioned that, occasionally we say, Swamiji, why this happened to me? I remember one day, though that time I was living in the Jersey City. So every morning I used to go to the Jersey City Lincoln Park for jogging, and I used to do the yoga practice also in the park because I was renting an apartment in the Jersey City. So every morning I used to go there by 8 up to 9:30, 10, I'm there. So one gentleman got the heart surgery, open heart surgery, and he, because he was resting, so he came for a walk in the Lincoln Park. So I was talking to him because he saw that I'm practicing yoga. So he came to me. Then he mentioned who he was, and then he recently got the heart surgery. And then he's telling Swami, why this happened to me? Why God gave me this punishment? So what do you think it is? Is the punishment of the God? It's not the punishment of the God. This is how it is. Because we do not take care of our own health. We allow frustration, depression, negative kind of thing. We eat wrong kind of food. Depression kill us. Negative kind of mentality kill us. Feeling weakness in the mind is kill us. And then taking wrong kind of food also, we damaging our own health. So we need to know that I know my body more than anybody else. I know what I should do, how to keep us positive, vibrant, energetic, and looking for constructive way, and not allowing any kind of depression at any situation. Why I'm mentioning this word repeatedly, if you hear last couple of lectures, I keep mentioning, because this is a time. This is a time for people getting depressed, people getting dejected, they're getting so bored in their home because they're locked up, and the tension outside, you don't know that, look, invisible enemies everywhere. It's invisible Rakshas everywhere. So people are so scared, and naturally depression coming. So this is the time we need to keep ourselves very, very, very positive. We need to keep ourselves mentally very strong. We need to do regular exercise. All 7 days we need to do exercise, and so that we could digest food properly, because outside work is limited now. That is why I'm mentioning, because once you fit, you can sit for meditation, because Lord Krishna say in the Upanishad that the weak person is unfit for God realization. The Guruji's body was like iron, so strong. So Ye bhajanti tumang bhakta, the body have to be like a steel body, but mind will be soft like a flower. There will be kindness, there will be benevolence, there will be sacrifice, there will be accommodation for everybody, there will be charitable mentality. Our mind will be soft like cotton ball, flower. Body have to be very strong like steel. Let me take you to verse number 30. We are coming to a conclusion. Very good. I'm happy that we'll be able to finish today here. The verse number 30. Pichete sudurachara bhajate mamannava Pichete sudurachara bhajate mam anannava sadure bosamantavyaha सम्यग् व्यवसित हि सः हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण Arjuna, even if a wicked person worship me with undivided love and with one pointed mind, he should be counted as a wise person because at this point his intellect is steady and his mind is set towards God. Now we do so much of mistake in our life. We sometimes we behave like mean, selfish, cruel. Sometimes we feel like I know only myself. I don't care. Other people crying. I don't care. And that's it. That's a sinful kind of attitude. But opicit sudurachara, people do so much kind of the sinful action in this world. They torture animal. They give pain to the people. They say lie. They tell lie. They follow wrong kind of path to gather land, building, and money. They use the crooked path to earn money. They do so much kind of sinful action. But here Lord Krishna says, Opicit Sudurachara. But then I realized my mistake. Now I realize that, oh, no. I did great mistake in my life. It's time for me to pray to the God, to go fall, throw myself at the lotus feet of the Lord. So if a wicked person worship me with undivided, make sure that you worship me with undivided devotion. Lord, I did all this kind of wrong thing in my life. Please forgive me. Please come to my heart now. Sit at the lotus at the lotus seat of my heart. Let me see you now. I'm repenting for my kind of wrongdoings. So if a wicked person also, this is a great hope. We do so much of mistake from our childhood to even today. If you look back, you'll see how much mistakes we did in life. Sometimes we behave really, really bad. But Lord Krishna says that if we can worship with undivided love, with one pointed mind, he should be counted as a holy person, as a wise person. Because at this point, his intellect is completely dedicated at one point to God. This is a kind of message of hope. This is a kind of message of great inspiration that even a great sinner, also could be known as a devotee of the Lord. It happened to Ratnakar who turned to Valmiki, and there are many examples. You remember that Jagai Madhai at the time of Sri Chaitanya. I mean, Jagai Madhai used to drink a lot openly, and if anybody chant Hare Krishna, they get crazy. They feel like Hare Krishna name like poison in their ear. So they used to take that bottle of the wine, of the pot of the wine, and throw those people. You know, and that is how they were so kind of bad people. But then time came when that Jagai Madhai become great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they become the leading person to preach the name of the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. That name is a famous story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We have been listening to this story from our childhood days. I'm taking you to verse number 31. Shiprang bhavati dharmatma shashat cha shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktaha pranashyati. Om Namaha Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Arjuna, sooner that person transformed to a noble soul and attain eternal peace. Means a sinful person, a person who did a lot of mistake in life, if he come and fall at the feet of the Lord and dedicatedly worship the Lord, sooner that person transformed to a noble soul and attain eternal peace. O Arjuna, you must know and you must declare it to the world that my devotees never perished. Oh, such a beautiful word. Can you imagine Lord Krishna telling, O Arjuna, you must declare to the world that my devotee is never perished. It's such a beautiful message of hope and expectation. Kshiprang Bhavati Dharmatna, a person who did a mistake, now he repenting and came at the feet of the Lord. That person is known now. People talk, somebody we know that he was a bad person coming to the temple now, and we say this person used to do a lot of bad things. Look, now he becomes such a great devotee. We talk in our temple. Shashwata Shanting Nigachati, and they get the eternal peace also. Kaunteo, O Kunti Putro, O son of Mother Kunti, you must know that my devotees is never perished. It's such a beautiful message. And let me take you this verse. I want to know this. I'm just coming to a conclusion almost. And if you see the verse number 33. Kim punar brahmanaha punya bhakta rajarishayasthatha anityam asukham lokam anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam Kim punar brahmanaha punya. O Arjuna, what should I tell you more about the pious Brahmins and saintly king? Being born in this transitory world, which is full of unhappiness, better you worship me. So this particular verse, I want to emphasize on the second line. It's a king punur, first line, king punur brahmana punya bhakta rajarshayasthatha. Imagine a sinner, a sinful person, now repenting for his mistake, came to the temple and praying to the Lord with the tearful eyes, Lord, please forgive me my past mistake. Please forgive me. Give me at your feet the guiltless devotion, the spotless devotion, pure devotion. So if that person can be known as a holy man now, as we see Balmiki, because Balmiki is previously a robber, Ratnakar. So Balmiki become a saint. What about a learned person or a rishi or a royal person who has full faith in me? Now the second line, if you look at the second line, Anityam Asukham Lokom Imam. This world is transitory. What we thinking today is the goal, is the permanent, is actually it is not permanent. This is called Bhranti. This is called illusion. Like how you walking on the dark road and there's a date, it kind of dry wood falling. You thinking this is snake. This is called Bhranti. So thinking this world, all this furniture, building, land, this my body, I'm thinking these are permanent. Please, these are anityam. It is not permanent, it is temporary. Including our body also. The body, I'm sitting in front of you. This body also very anityam. Is temporary. It will be gone one day. Asukham. So much of suffering in this world. Arjuna, I wish you could know. If you travel here, there, corner of the world, you will see people don't know where is peace. They're thinking, dancing, jumping here, there, going to the party, there is happiness. Imagine you did party, Christmas Eve party or the New Year Eve party coming, up to 1 p.m. Next day, you are exhausted, tired. You feel that you are not feeling well because you eat untimely. Maybe you did what you call, you put something in the body, your body is not accepting that kind of thing. So the people go through different kind of pain, thinking that this will give me peace. Bhajashamam. That is the word. Bhajashamam. Arjuna, worship me. Put your mind at me. Allow me to enter in your mind. Allow me to sit at the altar of your heart. Chant my name. Silently chant my name. Do jap. Feel the thrill of divine joy throughout your body, at every vein, every part of your body. Let me bring a flood of love, divine love to your body. Bhajashamam, worship me. And I will be taking you to the last verse of the chapter 9. Very beautiful verse. Chapter 9, if you remember, I was telling you it will take a long time. It could be at least 6 discourse, but I just cut short to finish today, chapter 9. So I'm reading the last verse of chapter 9. Manmana bhavo, mad bhakto bhavo, mad jaji mam namaskuru, mame vasvashi yuktaivam, atmanam matparayanahum. Manmana bhavo mad bhakto, madyaji mam namaskuru, mame vasyashi yuktaivam, atmanam matparayanaham. Oh, it's so beautiful. Arjuna, center your mind to me. Manmana bhavo, center your mind to me. Not the tangible thing, not the anitta jinis, not this material thing. These are anitta. Fix your mind to me, towards mine. Mad bhakta, be my devotee. Don't be the devotees of the things which bring only temporary joy to you. Mad bhakta, mad jaji. Arjuna, mad jaji, that bow down to me, to pranam to me. Mam namaskuru, towards by my devotee, worship me, madjaji, and bow down to me. Mamevo iswashi, thus making me your most beloved friend. Juktaivo mat parayanaha. Attaching yourself with me, you will reach me. So manmana bhavu madbhakta, center your mind towards me. Madbhakta, be my devotee. Madjaji, worship me. Mam namaskuru, bow down to me. Mat parayanaha, make me your most beloved friend. Depend on me only. Atmanam yuktaha, thus attaching yourself with me. Mam evo esyashi, Arjuna, it is sure that you are going to reach me. I don't think I need to explain this verse. It's clearly mentioned. It's a direct message to us that one goal, one direction of life, that we need to focus our mind towards the lotus feet of the Lord. The family life or monastic life is a two road to reach the same goal. Our effort, we learning a lot of lesson from our life by living a family life, by living a monastic life. Ultimately, we ending up at one point, that is the holy feet of the Lord. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayami Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Raja Vidya Raja Guha Yoga Namo Navamodhyayah. Thus, this is the end of the chapter 9 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishad, known as Raja Vidya Raja Guha Yoga, or the yoga of kingly knowledge and kingly secret. Holy Gita, which is the divine dialogue between Lord Sri Krishna and Arjuna, is also known as a Brahma Vidya, or the knowledge of the Brahma. It is also known as the Yoga Shastra or the sacred text which teaches secret techniques of different parts of yoga. And this is how we end it. Quickly, I'm just, because of the few minutes, I want to mention a couple of the verses to you so you could emphasize on it. First, the verse number 2. Rajavidya Raja Gujam. This is summary. I'm just quickly summarizing. Rajavidya Raja Gujam Pavitram idam uttamam pratyaksha bhagam dharmam susukham kortum uppayam. That is one of the important verse. Lord Krishna mentioned in this verse number 2, this most confidential supreme knowledge is the best. Rajavidya Raja Gujam. It is very pure. One can understand it easily. It is lawful. It is easy to practice, and it bears everlasting good result. Like the last verse we learned, Manvana Bhava Madhubhakta. And then the verse number 14. Let me see what is in the verse number 14. These are a couple of the very important words in the chapter 9. The verse number 14 is Satatam Kirtayam Tomam. Always chant my name. Raise our two hands, and we, what shame, what fear, whom to feel shame, why I should feel shame, being free from shame, all the hesitation, raising two hands, and we chant the name, Har Har Mahadev, Har Har Mahadev, Har Har Mahadev. So, Satatam Kirtayanto, that is one of the beautiful verse of the chapter 9. Then the verse number 22. See the verse number 22. Anunnas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Purjupasate Tesham Nityabhijuktanam Jokshim Vahamiham. Arjuna, my devotee, I take care of my devotee. A devotee who make me the sole goal of life. I protect their interest and I take care of them. I look after them. Whatever they needed, I supply them also. And I gave a small story of that. Then the verse number 26. Verse number 26 teaches us, if we quickly see here, Patram Pushpam Phalum. We need little thing to worship puja, to worship the God. Patram Pushpam Phalum Toyam Yomi Bhakta Prajachati. Arjuna, devotees who are free from desires and expectation, offers me simple leaves, flower, fruits, and water. I gladly accept and bless them. This is one of the very beautiful verse. And finally, the verse, let me see verse number 27 also, very important. Yat kurasi, whatever you do, yat kurasi jadasnasi jadjusi dadashi jad, yat tapussasi kaunteya tat kurusya madarpanam. O Kaunteya, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever rituals you perform, whatever contribution you make, whatever austerities you practice, offer everything to me. And the last one, the verse number 32, is the most beautiful one. That Manmana Bhavu Madhubhakta Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mameva Sasi Satyam Te Mamevo Esasi Juktaivam Atmanam Mat Parayanaha. Arjuna, center your mind to me. Madhbhakta Bhavo, be my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam Namaskuru, bow down to me. Mamevo Esasi, you will reach me, that I promise to you. And you will be able to feel that I'm sitting at the altar of your heart. So by saying this word, a little bit, I run a little bit today, a little fast. I'm happy that I concluded chapter 9 today. So this is the end of the year 2020. And what could be the best way to use this time? I think we are doing such a wonderful work by listening to the beautiful word of Lord Krishna. And coming 2021, I will see you again at this place and wish you a very, very happy, prosperous and vibrant new year. Thank you and namaskar.
Thank you, Swamiji.